I mean, Scientific American is a nice example of what happens when you allow a, a scientific institution to become deeply politicized, right? In that they have taken to publishing a lot of just like extremely uh, just nonsense, highly politicized articles, tenuously related to science, but not really, in fact, about science at all. And you pay a price for that, I guess, right? With any decision like that. One of the things that makes science as an institution useful in societies, in my opinion, is that it maintains an ethic, at least, of objectivity. I mean, human beings are not objective creatures, right? That nobody's viewpoint is purely objective. It's an ideal rather than it's an unattainable ideal, but it's still valuable to have it there as an ideal, because if you take that away, that sort of a little bit of distance in trying to actually figure out what the truth is, right? So science is something that has traditionally concerned itself with questions that can be answered in some objective way, right? The fundamental assumption of scientific investigation is that there's an external reality out there that has certain properties, and it's possible to find out what some of those things are, right? And to determine what's true and what's not about the outside, the world that exists objectively without us, right? Independently of us. If you no longer believe that's true, if you think that everything is that all knowledge is subjective, that there's no objective comparison to some standard outside of yourself that can be done, then you lose essentially the rationale and the power for scientific investigation. And I think one should be very cautious in doing that, because it has, science has proven to be incredibly powerful in terms of its ability to transform human societies. I mean, if you look at what technology has done for mankind in the last 500 years, I think one would be hard pressed to say that it was a bad thing, right? I mean, human beings are materially vastly better off than they were 500 or 1,000 years ago in aggregate, and it's true of almost every human being on the planet. Most people are better off than they were 1,000 years ago, and if you and that is due in large part to this change that happened with the invention of modern science, where we looked to nature as an objective arbiter for what's true and what isn't, the idea of scientific empiricism. And if you get rid of that, you're killing the goose that laid the golden egg to a certain degree, that you lose the power. You can't eschew that fundamental characteristic of the way you look at scientific investigation and keep its benefits. So I find it very disconcerting to see a lot of scientists themselves advocating for essentially naked politicization of the scientific process, because I think that will remove the ability. Not only will it destroy the credibility of science politically, there's that immediate political problem, which is one reason that people have been willing to quote unquote listen to the science is a perception that the scientists are being objective and that they're not pushing a particular political agenda one way or another. And if you remove that, you will destroy people's faith in the process. Mm-hmm. But there's more to it than that, which is you'll destroy the process itself. Once you politicize scientific investigation, once you quit caring about what's actually true and what isn't true, then you are no longer doing science at all, and you will not produce the kind of results. You'll not actually arrive at any kind of understanding of the truth that's necessary in order to progress technologically and socially to the next level beyond where we are now, to solve global warming, for example. You have to care about what's true if you're going to solve global warming, right? Because nature doesn't care. The response of the planet is a mechanical process that is indifferent to any political viewpoint we might place on it. And so if we want to actually save the planet, if we want to solve global warming, if we want to preserve our environment, we really have to care about what's true and what isn't, and we have to have some sort of objective method of determining that. That's just one example of many of why this is important. So for me, I really wish that we could take science and retain it as something that is nonpartisan and above and beyond any particular political battles that we have at the time, because we need it. We need an institution like that that is nonpartisan, that's concerned with fact and fiction, that can inform our decisions in a concrete way. So I think it's tremendously important socially.